Dawntrail was a lot of firsts for a lot of people, and for me, Dawntrail was the first expansion that I played that I actually was caught up with. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV around a month before the release of Endwalker, so I've always had to play catch-up, and if you've ever had to go through a situation that went a little like this, oh my god, the fight with Redacted was so exciting. Oh no, I'm so sorry, I forgot you hadn't gotten that far yet. Then my heart does go out to you. But this time, things were different. I knew who Redacted was. The world was my oyster. The content out there was fresh for everyone else, just as it was for myself. The only thing to decide on was what I wanted to do first. I could start with, oh my, what are those and why do I need them? Let's see, you have to do a, what now, an extreme trial to get them? Well, how hard could those be? Bear in mind that at this point I was still very blissfully unaware in my naivete regarding the raiding scene. In my mind, and I do apologize to any raiders that are hearing this, but this was how I used to think. I used to think, oh my god, raiders are so full of themselves. Anyone could raid, it's just following a video. I'm really good at following those programming videos by Indian professors, so if I wanted to raid, I could do it easily. And on top of all of that, what makes this better is at that point, in all 7 expansions of Final Fantasy XIV, I had not learned a single rotation for any class. Just because I could go through Orborn Monastery without dying, I thought I had to be a godly gamer, so why would I need a rotation? In my defense, you can get through all the normal content of Final Fantasy XIV's main story quest without having to learn one, and therefore I simply was a victim of that system. So yes, I was the problem. I was making your dungeon runs go a little slower than they should have, but that wasn't on me. I didn't know any better. I could be what the masses call a turbo casual. Hell, I had an RP HUD before I even started making a functional combat HUD. And there I was, in all my ignorant glory, looking up how to get into high-end content, watching guides of EX1 and 2, and also making sure I had appropriate gear, so you can't call me completely irresponsible. And after spending all the money I saved up over the years role-playing, I was fully equipped with my first best-in slot gear. And because a lot of the friends that I've made over the years were fellow turbo casuals such as myself, I was left alone to tackle this content. Thankfully, a beautiful place called Party Finder exists where I committed cardinal sin number 1. Joining a midway prog party even though I was fresh. As it turns out, I actually ended up being pretty good at following instructions and videos, so I didn't get caught, and I got through my lie unscathed, albeit fraudulently. However, I do not recommend this to new raiders moving forward. Definitely be truthful to avoid some sticky situations. I just got really lucky. Did this add on to my delusion of being a god gamer and that raiding was simply not that hard? Yes, and so it was time to move on to EX2. And here deep in these Zoralia trenches was where I first encountered an enrage system and why it was a problem that I wasn't doing the DPS that I was supposed to be doing. But at that point, there simply was no way for me to know that I was the problem. So after brute forcing EX1 and 2, a couple of very unfortunate circumstances followed by some less unfortunate ones, I was ready for bigger things. I needed a bigger challenge. A god gamer like me, I could handle savage content. After heavily exaggerating just how easy extreme content was and that I was off to greener pastures and savage content, see you in M1S, my friend stopped me. If it's your first savage, maybe you could try hitting the stone, sky, and sea dummy real quick, just to see if you can handle it. Why not? I mean, there's no harm in trying that. I could not clear the M3S dummy for the life of me. I was trying so hard, but I just couldn't. I was heart stuck because there really is only so much damage you can output as someone without a rotation. And so I asked my friend, what could I possibly be doing wrong? This dummy has to be overtuned or something, right? As to which he replied, do you mind streaming your rotation for me? Just so I can help you optimize it and see where you're going wrong. And so I did, and it turns out everything was wrong, because I now learned that clipping your GCDs is bad, and I thought my APM was just so massive that they couldn't handle the actions per minute I was inputting between each GCD. Don't do that. So that was when I started to actually look up a proper rotation, because contrary to popular belief, I do not like actively sandbagging in your raids. And, you know, I play fighting games, so I enjoy a good lab session, and after an hour or so, the beginnings of an acceptable button masher was forming. Eventually, I did clear the M3S dummy, but I was still stuck on the M4S one, and I'm a completionist, so I was unhappy. I would not be satisfied until I saw that duty complete. However, I didn't know where I was lacking. I did the exact same rotation according to Icy Veins, and it made me clear M3S, but what exactly was it about M4S that made it harder for me to clear? I didn't know what to do, and so I asked the forbidden question. There has to be another way to know that I'm doing better. And so the monkey paw curls. There is a way to know, my friend replied. Oh no. I was vaguely aware of such a thing existing, but it never was relevant to me up till now. And I guess it was helpful in seeing myself get slightly better, but as long as I didn't really dabble into it, it couldn't be that harmful, right? If anything, it would be more helpful to see my progress in a more visual way. And it did help. I do enjoy seeing big numbers go up after all. When I did end up finally clearing the striking dummy, I knew I had to be more ready than ever. I unleashed myself into Party Finder. It was time for my Savage debut. After hopping through a couple of parties, a couple of lockouts, and some progging, I got pretty comfortable with the fight and was confident enough to join an A2C party. That actually wasn't a lie, and we did clear. The satisfaction I got after that fight was what made me think, so this is why raiders do this. I took my screenshots, and despite winning no loot, I was happy. And in the afterglow of a clear, I thought to myself, you know, there is a way for me to check just how I did, because surely I did amazing. I didn't die or nothing. So maybe I will open Pandora's box and just take a peek. Oh my god. You know those moments in anime where the character gets a wake-up call as to the harsh realities of power scaling? That was me. Turns out, hitting a dummy and hitting something that actively moves and hits back with mechanics is really different. How could this be? I was in shock. My teammates had impressive scores in color while I was living in black and white. It was humbling, yes, considering someone on my team uploaded this and probably saw that I was comfortably getting carried and still thought I was part of the team. And some people might think of not showing their faces in a Savage raid ever again, but not me. If you have ever thought like that, this is for you. We keep going. I will keep going. It may be embarrassing, but look, you've done more embarrassing things, in person no less, so this is nothing to you. We pick up the little scraps of our DPS and we keep going. to my teammates that helped me clear on that day, first of all, sorry. And second of all, I will be better the next time you see me, so please do not kick me if I join your party. When you start at rock bottom, good news is the only way you can go is up. But then again, I do play fighting games, and I have a little bit of masochistic tendencies when it comes to stuff like this. So I do enjoy getting humbled and actively trying to get better. But if you're the type to genuinely get discouraged by stuff like this, I do highly recommend you live in obliviousness forever. Do not go unto the site which shall not be named. Anyway, after shaking off the initial rude awakening, guess what? A clear is still a clear, and I am not going to let my parse being retro stop me from clearing the content I paid $39.99 for. It was onward to M2S. And it was here that a fire was really lit under me. Because while I was progging M2S, we hit enrage a couple of times, right? And this one DPS says, if any of us die, we simply can't make enrage. Okay, maybe if I, the bard, dies, then it's still salvageable. First of all, rude? And that was the deciding factor. I would get better. I will get better. I remember your name, and I will make sure I do better than you in all forms of content. How dare you? Fizz ranged players have feelings too, okay? I guess what I'm saying is that if I can survive all of that as a player that started from absolute zero with the worst foundation possible, you can do it too. You're probably at a better starting point than I was. So, if you have any interest in raiding at all, I would say go for it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, and if you embarrass yourself too bad, just blacklist everyone in the party. And while it can still be a little overwhelming, I get that. Just remember that a gray that is actively improving is better than a gray that is comfortable in stagnation. And as long as you're trying, no one can really fault you for that. Okay, they can, but their opinion doesn't matter. Well, I suppose now that I'm fairly seasoned in the raiding scene, I could help you newbies out. Okay, so I translated a couple of the key Party Finder terms into a simplified table. There are a lot of words on Party Finder and it can get overwhelming, so please refer to this table as to what they mean. Also, if you saw Enrage while dead on the ground, you are more than qualified to join A2C. Hope this helps. As of the making of this video, I'm still in between progging M4S, and I have never known peace since I started raiding. Tuesdays are now reclear days and life is a prison. But do I regret getting into raiding? Yes, but at least I'm getting the most out of my Dawntrail expansion because I feel like it's best to do the high-end content as it is still relevant. Because there's nothing more off-putting than trying to do a piece of content and having everyone else be like, oh yeah, we've already done it, but we can help you. Because then you just feel a little burdensome, even if that might not be the case. So I'd say give it a go. You might end up really liking it, or you might not, but at least you gave it a try. Moving forward, I probably will continue doing these savage raids because I'm a little bit freaky like that. So you will be seeing more of me, unfortunately. But if you do, I do implore that you at least give me a chance. I am trying, I am improving, and hopefully that's enough for you guys. If not, just blacklist me, I suppose. Okay, bye!